Hey there, welcome to my channel. I'm glad you tuned in. Today I want us to talk about how to break this spirit of offense and bitterness. When I work with people, a lot of times, and people always don't realize this, but a lot of times actually people have been offended. They had unmet expectations by their children, by their husband, by their parents, by their relationships. And they didn't know how to navigate that, or to, when they were disappointed, they just let it stay there. They didn't know how to communicate. They didn't know how to have a discussion with the other person. And so offense is actually when we have had people do things to us, or say things about us, or treat us in a way that we feel that it is unfair, and they ought to apologize to us. They ought to recognize that we are not happy about that. But because we didn't deal with it, then it becomes offended. The problem with being offended is that if you don't deal with it, then you get easily offended by people, because you're it's like, once you didn't deal with that, then somebody else comes and says something, it's heaping on. And so you have met people, and I'm sure you have, I have, people that are so easily offended, and now they're so wounded. I mean, you say one thing, just a little thing, they just take it personally. They are offended. They're offended easily. And that's why, because they had an unmet expectations, but also there was lack of communication. And how do you know that you are actually offended? Some of the ways is that you don't want to be intimate with people because you are afraid they'll offend you again. You also you feel like you want to be in control of things, of situations, of people, because that's the only way you can take care of yourself, because now there's a wound, because there's an offense that was not dealt with. And then other things are like you feel entitled. Like I said, you feel like somebody should have said they're sorry. You feel they should have said they're thankful because you helped them organize their party. That's why I say, and I actually tell my clients, avoid placing expectations on people. Honestly, just do things to love people. And I know that's difficult as human beings, but actually God says we should not owe anybody, or nobody owes us anything except love. And I think that's what he meant. Like when we do stuff, or we are helping people, we are trying to love them, and then maybe they are not appreciative, maybe they don't pay us back, maybe they don't come to help us when we need help, then we create offense. And if you can just practice to not place expectations, and especially unrealistic expectations, you'll find that actually you're guarding your heart against offense. And I try to do that a lot. I used to be somebody, I'm a very loyal person, like when people invite me, I go into their world to help them with something. I go all in, or I used to go all in. And what happened is that they didn't do that for me, and I would get offended, and I realized it wasn't their fault. It was my fault, because I shouldn't expect. I was placing expectations, and so I found that I'm a healthy person, and I don't have or struggle with that. The problem with offense, it leads to bitterness. We've talked about these things in other of my videos, that emotions are interconnected. It's like you start with one, if you don't deal with it, it gives birth to another. It literally gives birth, to another emotion. And that's how we find ourselves stuck down the line. So offense is one that is down there, at the root of a lot of other emotions, like anxiety, like depression. But how does it even get to there? There's a process, it's birthing. So like offense will birth bitterness. Bitterness will birth anger. Anger will birth rage. You see people who are so angry. It started with offense. It started with unmet expectation. It was not that big, but now because they have not been dealing with it, and then some people also deal with offense and all these emotions they numb it. They use drugs. That even makes it worse because you're not dealing with the issue, and so you become, you just become a very angry person, easily offended person. And here is the thing, and I've had quite a few people ask me, what is the difference between emotional and spiritual? Like how do they work? So if you don't take care of your emotions, they will lead you to spiritual attacks. That you find that you open your doors to demonic attacks, spiritual attacks. The spirit offense, when it gets you, now we are dealing with bigger issues of like, while you just have forgiven somebody or dealt with an emotion or a situation, then now you are dealing with really like big stuff, spirit, because now you've opened yourself. That's why the Bible says to not give the enemy a foothold. A foothold to what? To your mind, to your soul. Because once he's in there, then all this, it gets bigger and bigger, and then now he can come and attack you. And that's why a lot of us are going through spiritual attacks, demonic attacks, because of offense, because of something we didn't deal with. And that's why I talk about emotional well-being, self-care. It may look like it's not spiritual or it's not a big deal to you because you think that you're a spiritual giant. But if you don't do these practical things, you find yourself in that problem. And this is like just helping people to realize that we really complicate this life. We complicate things. We want to show people how we are fighting. We are spiritual giants fighting spiritual big stuff, whereas we would actually have just taken care and through discipline and awareness and just kept out of trouble. Okay, and again, I'm not saying we don't have spiritual attacks or demonic attacks, but maybe that's a video for another day, how you can know when something is actually real, a spiritual attack, or it's just something that you can deal with it, practically. I've had people say how they were fired from their jobs, and now they say it's a spiritual attack. And I'm like, these people, same people, if you ask them, they're always late to work. They are easily offended. They don't like feedback. I'm like, that is not a spiritual attack. That is you needing to follow what God told you to do, and so that you can be stable in your emotions, in your mind, and so that you can stable at your job and perform well and represent Christ. So I'm not going to belabor that more, but I just wanted to say that we need to deal with things as they come. So how do we break this spirit of offense and bitterness? Simple. We've said it before. Forgive. Once you acknowledge that you have it, because that's the first step, acknowledging that you are offended by somebody, and then go through forgiving them. And once you forgive them, it may even take you a process of healing. Always when you forgive, make sure that when you feel that you're still hurt, go through healing. Forgiveness is self-care, but it's also like a process. Sometimes it is a process. It's not just something you say and then you think it's all done. Yes, you need to confess that you're forgiving people, but sometimes you have to go through healing as well. And once you do that, you find that, then you're getting freer and freer, or you have freedom, and then practice to not getting offended. And when you do, because you will do, because we are human beings, then forgive instantly. Don't let that offense simmer there and create other things that then they become so big and they get you stuck, and then you start self-sabotage. Okay, so I hope this video helped. I hope it helped you do some self-care assessment, do some cleaning of your soul, and please subscribe to my channel, like, comment, engage. I appreciate, we are growing, and I appreciate you. Okay, bye. See you in the next video.